John Michaels on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. John Michaels hosts mornings on 680 The Fan in Atlanta. You know he's a diehard Canes fan. He's not happy. I'm not happy. I mean, go ahead, John. What? I'll give you the floor here for 60 seconds, and then we can chat about it. But what are you thinking? Because I came out of the box on today's show and I got everything off my chest. Just I thought it was criminally negligent what Mario Cristobal did to Cam Ward. Forget about the program itself, but to not give Cam Ward an opportunity to have a Heisman moment, I thought was criminal after what he did for you all season long. But go ahead. The floor is yours, John.
Let's start with program. You had what was the best season you've had in 20 years rolling. You wet the bed against Georgia Tech, which was bad enough. You realized maybe on Friday night that Georgia Tech was a heck of a lot better than everybody thought. You're up 21-0. 21-0. All you have to do is win a game, and you're in Charlotte. You're playing for an ACC title. You're locked into the playoffs. You might get the 2 seed if all things had fallen your way. And you've got a chance to have your program on the biggest stage of everything. All the naysayers, all the negativity, everything goes out the window if you simply hold on to a 21-0 lead. What happens now? You're the same old garbage Miami that you've been. You're the same old Miami for 20-plus years who continuously comes up short. And now we have to hope the committee, who has shown over and over again how much they love the SEC, will leave you in the postseason. It's an utter failure of a season if Miami doesn't ultimately make the playoffs. And once again, now you've left it in somebody else's hands. Once again, all the question marks about your program are there. Where does this program go going forward? And the question marks about your coaching staff are gigantic because everything they did all year long to quiet them has now come right back to the forefront.
Well, let's talk about the field goal. Let's do a microscopic look at that particular decision. So there's about 4.5 minutes left, and you're down 7. Mm-hmm. And it's 4th down, long, 4th down, though, and you have a Heisman caliber quarterback. And in my opinion, first of all, putting 3 points on the board still means you have to score a touchdown and get a stop. Get a stop and score a touchdown. You're not accomplishing anything, in my estimation, by kicking the field goal, even if the analytics tell you to kick the field goal, because we all watch the defense. And the head coach's responsibility is to exploit weaknesses on the other side and acknowledge weaknesses and strengths on your own side. And if you watched that game and couldn't acknowledge that your defense was incapable of stopping Syracuse, that I just don't understand what you're thinking. So you cut the lead from needing a touchdown to needing a touchdown. And like I said to Solana, like, if you do go for it on 4th and goal and don't make it, you still need your 3 and out, which is what you're looking for, even if you do make the field goal. And you're at least starting at their own, 9-yard line or so. I am so beyond I'm beyond angry when it comes to that decision, because there is no sense in the world of taking those 3 unless you have a great defense, but you don't.
Right. Yeah, if the game is 28-21 at that point and you've rattled off multiple stops in a row, okay, get the field goal, knowing that you've got a couple of timeouts in the 2-minute warning and you still have Cam Ward. The problem is, since the game was 21-0, and I'm trying to remember because I was a little bit enhanced at some point during this game, I believe since the point it was 21-0, Miami got 2 stops the entire time. One was right before the end of the half. They forced them to punt when it was 21-14. The other one, Syracuse was about to score, and you had a freshman linebacker in Bobby Pruitt who ripped the ball out of somebody's hands when Syracuse was about to go on top. I didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now. Using the analytics department really makes me more. I hate analytics in sports. I hate when coaches tell me, well, analytics told us to do this. How about guts and feel? How about knowing your team? How about looking at the number one on the jersey of the kid that's wearing the quarterback position, knowing that he's going to be in New York City in 2 weeks for the Heisman Trophy ceremony, and knowing that that's your best player on your team, knowing that during the year you were number one in all of college football on third down conversions. Some of them were 3rd and 16. Some of them were 3rd and 18. How about acknowledging that during the year, this kid had you come back against Virginia Tech, come back against Cal, score enough points to outscore Louisville, do everything that he had in his power to give you a chance to win. And I had people, Hawk, on social media, well, it's not like we were going to get a stop anyway. I'm like, you guys missed the point. You never even gave yourself a chance to tie the football game. You gave the ball away and never got it back. Cam Ward's last drive ends on a field goal because you were too chicken bleep to give him a chance to tie the game. It goes back to my opening rant. All the question marks about your coaching acumen are right back to the forefront. People knew last year you needed to take a knee to win. You said we needed a clock guy to tell you what it was. Everybody knew then you needed a touchdown to tie the football game, and you're telling me an analytics guy, somebody that's not on the field, maybe some dude that's sitting in a room with a Microsoft tablet is who told you to kick a field goal? Dude, have some guts, have some feel for a football game, and let the best damn player in the country have a chance to tie it for you.
And Cam Ward, in my estimation, was owed that moment for everything that he did for the team this season, for everything that he did for Mario and the program. He's owed that moment. So maybe when he's in New York, the final regular season game was Cam Ward converting on 4th and goal to, have this miraculous tie, or maybe you go for 2 and win, or maybe it goes to over. Who knows? But he was owed that moment. Like how? Yeah, I don't understand. If I'm Cam Ward, aren't you pissed at Mario if you're Cam Ward?
I'm livid. And there's a chance, and again, we'll find out tomorrow at 7:00. There's a chance we never see Cam Ward take another snap. He's not. If we're not in the playoffs, he's not playing in some garbage bowl, and I don't blame him or the other 30 kids that are going to opt out. There's no reason to play in that game. I don't want to hear about culture and program or nothing else. With a 12-team playoff, if you're not there and you're going to the NFL draft or transferring, you're done. Your season's over. How unfair is that to Cam Ward that you never gave him a final chance? Now, it may have ultimately ended up the same way. Maybe on 4th and 10 we don't score, and Syracuse runs out the last 4 minutes and we lose. Instead of 42-38, we lose 42-35. You know what? Who gives a damn? At least you gave yourself a chance.
Man, frustrating. So what do you think? Let's say SMU beats Clemson. Do you think Miami gets in, 11 or 12 in the college football playoff?
And I've done a lot this week of trying to read trends and get an idea of how far teams have fallen after they've lost certain games. You look at Syracuse really isn't a bad loss like everybody originally painted it. The Orange finish at 9-3. I wouldn't be surprised on tomorrow's rankings if they're a ranked ball club. Okay, so it's not going to look as terrible losing to them as, say, getting blown out by Oklahoma, losing to Florida, getting blown out by Kentucky. Like, those were bad losses for the SEC teams. I also looked at the trend of where teams fell. Most teams, when they've lost inside the top 15, have fallen 5 to 6 spots after a loss. Last week, Miami was number 6 in the college football playoff poll. I don't give a damn about the AP and the coaches poll. Those polls have zero bearing on any of this. It's only what the committee thinks. So if you fall 5 spots, you fall to 11. The other part is, in my estimation, there's only 1 spot open in the playoffs. I think 9 teams are locked in. Everybody from Indiana up is locked in, win or lose this weekend. I think then you're going to have the Big 12 Conference champion is 10, the Mountain West Conference champion is 11, and that leaves 1 at-large bid between Miami and the 3 3-loss SEC teams. My gut tells me Miami gets screwed. Being a Miami fan for 40-plus years, there's never been a time, I think since Howard Schnellenberger and them went from 5 to number 1 on New Year's Day after beating Nebraska, that we've gotten the benefit of the doubt of a vote. Analytics tell you that when you're trying to disseminate the 3 3-loss SEC teams, they all have pluses and minuses. Miami then's plus is you have one less loss. The negative, you have no ranked wins unless somehow Duke or Louisville or them jump into the ranked department. I think we end up on the outside looking in. I think they're going to have a hard time, even though Alabama to me is the least deserving of the three-loss SEC team. I just see the brand name of Alabama, the allure of having them on the road in an opening round matchup against Penn State or Notre Dame, too big to overcome. And guess what? Miami's in a really bad spot moving forward if they're out of this playoff with this team.
Ooh, that would make me so angry. I don't care what the scenarios are. For me, you can't put 3-loss teams over a 2-loss team. When, again, we're not talking about the Mountain West. It's not a Mountain West 2-loss team. We're talking ACC's a decent conference. I would be very angry if Alabama or any of the 3-loss SEC teams would get in over Miami. I just would. I don't not expect it. Like you say, I've been following this program since I went there in '87. Like, I don't not expect it, but that I think. But I thought FSU got screwed last year too. So what do I know?
And maybe my hope is on the flip side of they say, wait a second, we screwed an ACC team a year ago, like royally. Florida State should have been in, and it should not have been Alabama getting in the playoffs. And they don't have the brand of Nick Saban standing on the sideline. Love Kalen DeBoer, but he's not Nick Saban, never has, never will be. And the last part is Miami was the number one offense in all of college football. And what happens to a casual viewer on a college football playoff game? Do you want to watch Jalen Milroe go, 1 touchdown and 6 interceptions, which he's done over his last 4 ball games throwing the football? Or do you want to see Cam Ward in Miami maybe playing a 52-45 game? Because Lord knows our defense can't stop a nosebleed, but you could have some excitement. You have to be 11 tomorrow, or you have to be 12. The caveat there being Arizona State is in front of you. If you're 11, you have a chance to get in. And then we're all fans of Rhett Lashley and the SMU Ponies, the Mustangs. They would have to beat Clemson. The worst of all scenarios, and I was talking with some buddies about this today, Miami's 11 tomorrow. We feel great. We're in. The last championship game next Saturday is the ACC title game. And somewhere around 11:30 Saturday night, Clemson kicks a game-winning field goal, and they boot our ass out of the playoffs. That would be the biggest kick in the rear end.
How badly did this ruin your December? Did the loss Saturday ruin your December?
I'm almost divorced because of this damn game. And I'm not kidding you. I had tickets to go to Charlotte this week. That's out, obviously. Don't have to make that. I'd already told my wife we're going to New Orleans in December, right after the Christmas holidays, to go see her family. I'd already told her, I said, if things go the way I think they're going to be, we'll be in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, 1:00 January the 1st. I'm flying home, which means you got to drive back from New Orleans by yourself. And she goes, you're planning all this stuff? I said, Miami has their best team in 20 years. I want to see every single game of it. I came up from the basement and I said, good, you get your way. I don't get to go to any damn football the rest of the year. Probably not the smartest thing for me to say.
Unbelievable. I am just, I'm just, yeah. I just feel bad for Cam Ward, which is a weird thing because I think he's going to have an excellent NFL career. I just feel bad. Remember, Solana, do you remember what happened when Russell Wilson first went to, was it Denver where they kicked a field goal? What was that dopey coach's name? The head coach that got
Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett. Remember, I think it was the first game. Wasn't it in prime time? And it was like he went for like a 65-yard field goal instead of letting Russell Wilson. Like, you're there for a reason. My guess is when Mario is recruiting Cam Ward, and obviously there's a lot of money involved and all that stuff now in the NIL times, but when he's recruiting him, he's like, yeah, like you're going to have an opportunity to shine. And there's no greater opportunity than, 4th and goal and come back from a game that you never should have blown the lead in the first place. But Cam's done everything you've needed him to do, and you have an opportunity to make him a hero, and you take the ball out of his hands. He never gets to touch it again.
I think this is a program-changing moment. You had the trajectory pointing straight up. Like this, Miami is maybe not back, but doggone close to being back. You lose this game, if you don't make the playoffs, imagine there's going to be 25 kids that don't play. So you're going to be in a bowl game that nobody cares about, that nobody's going to be watching, with a bunch of freshmen and sophomore playing. If you're somebody that was considering, hey, I'm going to Miami because the trajectory is pointing in the right direction, and I look and go, man, that just looked like the same old Miami. Down the stretch, they go 1-2 against two solid but not spectacular football teams. Miami had a god-awful schedule, and you couldn't go undefeated or get to the ACC title game. How do I feel about that moving forward? That's how seismic I think that third and fourth quarter was on Saturday afternoon. And by the way, Lance Guidry, I cannot, before we get off the air, what he did to our defensive side of the football is criminal. Mark D'Onofrio is the worst defensive coordinator I've ever seen. He had our guys playing 36 yards off the ball on 4th and 1 against triple option teams. He was terrible. I watched Syracuse in the second half of that game go, wait a second, Miami has no safety help over the top. And they have a true freshman corner who, while O.J. Frederick is really good, cannot cover our receivers. We're just going to continuously throw jump balls. And I watched us on third down over and over again with no safety help, letting these receivers run right by us. It was backyard football when you play with your kids and you tell them run to the flag post and you just throw them the ball. There was not a single adjustment. Nothing was done. And if that defense costs us a chance at a college football playoff and a national title, I think there will be wholesale changes on that staff, which means, again, we're looking for new coordinators and trying to figure out a new direction. It sucked. It sucks so bad, and I've had to deal with it, and I can't wait till 7 o'clock gets here tomorrow so I can just feel the pending doom go away, and I know our lot in life, which I have a feeling is going to be on the outside looking in.
Just maddening. John Michaels, follow him on Twitter, John Michaels and the letter U. John Michaels U. Thanks, John.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.